Hello, gamers, and welcome back to the Warframe Iron Man Dojo Chronicles, the show where I farm up resources for my Warframe Iron Man account's Dojo. Our current target is the Hema, and we still need to farm mutagen samples. Last week we ended with 987 mutagen samples, and this week we are starting with 1013. We managed to get a resource doubler booster, which is going to be very helpful, and we are farming Terrorim, which is a survival on Deimos. I'll be answering any questions you guys might have left for me last week, and without further ado, let's get into it. Our first question for today is going to be, what are your favorite weapons to use that are bad, based on how much investment they need for there being much better options out there? Alright, I had to do quite a bit of thinking on this because it's not as night and day as you'd think, because a lot of the weapons that I like to use, once we invest enough into them, they're good. They'll do the job, and by the job, I mean, as long as they're competent in my elite Archimedes, that's all I need. And I'm having a hard time imagining what weapons that I've invested in that are quite shit at that. I would say for guns, maybe like the Ambassador. I love to bring this one up. It's one of my favorite weapons, and I always see that, oh, it sucks and its rework wasn't that great, or it's buff that it got a while ago. But I mean, that thing is like slightly worse than the Kuva Carrick from experience. I haven't used it in quite a bit, so maybe it is based off of like getting buffed and all that. I can't tell you for certain. But if I had to say like bad, it's tough. I don't think there's like a favorite bad weapon. Now, I will say for this question, I'm going to put down a concrete answer that may shock everybody, but my favorite weapon archetype that I would say is like worse than the others would probably be glaive, and more specifically heavy attack spamming glaives. Now, the reason I'm saying this instead of like some doo-doo weapon shit is because in terms of melees, it's quite easily just to make them influence shills or slam weapons or heavy attack spamming, and like they'll do fine, honestly. There's a lot of like worse than others, and it's solely based on like stats and stuff, but I'm gonna say glaives, and now here's my reasoning, right? First things first, I think that there's one glaive that's better than the rest, and I think that's Zorus, just based off of heavy attack spamming. That thing is an influence procer, and it's gonna do it every time. So I think it kind of has an advantage over other glaives. Not to say that it is like the best. I think in contention you could go for the Path Assist, but I don't have a lot of experience with that one. But I would say that thrown melees like the glaives, what they're trying to do is they're trying to just hit once, maybe hit a bunch of procs. And it requires a lot more than just holding F. You know what I'm saying? Take for instance, like, let's use the Nami solo. I think that is like the crown jewel of just holding F, or your melee button, I should probably say, and just running it down mid with influence. The Nami solo, despite like who you use it on, what you're doing, it'll just crank. The glaives, if there's an enemy with I was gonna say armor, that's not true. If there's an enemy with that you can't build up stacks of a dot, or it takes damage attenuation, so you have to hit it multiple times instead of just once really hard, then they'll crumble. But with normal melees, you just kind of hold them, and they just work. So that's probably not like a good answer to this question, because glaives aren't bad, but I do think they underperform in terms of like, I'm telling you, just use a normal melee spam weapon. If you're gonna even use melee, I know that's also a big feat, because let's be real, we're in a golden age. Just slap on like some stat stick, your Fear X Wraith, your Praetos, and just go to work. But yeah, glaives, that's my that's my answer, and they are not bad at all. One more thing I actually wanted to mention before I get off this point is that you do have to invest quite a bit into them, but that goes for all melees, so I don't really think you could hold it against glaives either. So, but I had to include that. I didn't want to forget. Anyway, next question. Our second question is going to be, any plans to do attempts at the super bosses? We're going to be doing all of the super bosses on the Iron Man, and we will be getting every accolade. Now, this may be a bit of a struggle because I'm going to have to go back and get some characters that I've already helmeted and gotten rid of, and probably just use their normal variants again because primes are kind of finicky. But I do plan on doing all of them, getting all the accolades. As for when, because I'm sure that's a burning question as well, probably we'll do Captain Vor for the first time, hard mode Captain Vor, when we get Chroma Prime, or at least farm him up, whenever he's available. I'm thinking that might be in September, because it was last year, but who knows. I want to guild my Chroma and go from a broke bitch normal Chroma to Chroma Prime in probably the most glorious fashion imaginable, getting his glyph from Janus Vor. But we just gotta wait a little longer for that, and then whenever that is a thing we can do on the Iron Man, we have plenty of resources to just kick his ass. I don't even think it's gonna be that big of a challenge. Although, Chroma is more of a health tank, and the way I've done them in the past is shield gating shenanigans, so, it'll be a different experience, but we will be doing the super bosses and getting all the accolades. Mark my words. Our next question is going to be, you've played this game for a long time. What are some things you regularly do without even thinking about them? For me, it's opening relics. Almost any time I open the game on my phone, I have to at least crack one relic. Now, I had to read that additional point for the relic. Bless your heart, I could never open up my game and want to go and crack a singular relic. Because the relic system for me on a solo Iron Man account is complete cock and ball torture, but I'm sure that doesn't apply to you, so that's totally fine. To answer your question, though, it's going to be my comfort thing that I always do when I'm bored and get on this game, is I just level something. Whether that be I get something that I can extract the mastery from, like a new crafted weapon on the Iron Man, or on my main if I just want to invest into something and make it better. I just be leveling shit. That's my comfort. In terms of the Iron Man, there's 3,000 gajillion things that I need to level. Even sitting in my foundry, I just have a bunch of random stuff crafted that if I ever get an affinity booster and I'm not busy, I'm just going to sit there in my spy missions and crack those open. Get some XP going and flowing. But on the main, I think this is where it's more important. I like having all of my stuff that I have, and I have a lot of stuff, to be EDA and ETA viable. Now for weapons, this is kind of shitty because it's just putting the same six mods, or 8 mods actually, on all my weapons for the most part. It's usually just the same builds for all the weapons, and it's just, that's what works, and that's all I care for, because a lot of the weapons are mid, which totally counteracts what I was talking about earlier about bad weapons, I guess. But in terms of Warframes, even I'll see a build that I had from long ago that I would like to make better, more modern, and then I gotta invest in them, and I spend a lot of time just sitting and leveling stuff. It brings me joy. Our final question for today is gonna be, Season 2 gonna be without a looting frame, right? Nerd emoji. Now, I know this was intended to be silly, but let me give my thoughts on this, because I actually do have some. If we're talking Season 2 of the Warframe Iron Man, the only way there'd be a Season 2 of the Warframe Iron Man is if we could play through all of the older clients of the game. Or all the builds, I guess. I kind of fucked my own head with that one. If we can go through all of the older builds and go through an update order, then there would be a Season 2 of the Iron Man. And in which case, fuck no, we are not going without a looting frame. If I have to do the Hema grind again, I'm gonna fucking blow my brains out. Oh my god. But if you mean in terms of Season 2 for the Hema grind, there will be no Season 2 for the Hema grind, as previously mentioned. Unless circumstances are fulfilled. Now, that being said, the Season 2 for the Dojo Chronicles, which is going to be focused on us getting the Nux, in which we are going to need a bajillion cryotic, that is probably going to be without a looting frame. So, technically, my answer to this is an overall yes and no. Yeah, it just all depends. playing the game without the proper tool is pretty sad. I know I hate my Necros' kit so much, but you pop that 3 and he's going to work, and I wouldn't leave home without him. But, you know, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy with no looting frame. But that's going to do it for the questions this week, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. We ended our survival today with 374 mutagen samples collected, bringing us to a total of 1,387 mutagen samples collected so far. But gamers, I want to thank y'all for watching. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you disliked it, you can do that too. Any questions that y'all have for me that you'd like me to answer, just go ahead and leave in the comments below. And if you found this video and aren't caught up to the Warframe Iron Man or don't know what the series is about, go ahead and check the description below. I have the rules for the Iron Man account, as well as a playlist with all of the episodes. But otherwise, gamers, we'll be right back at it again next Thursday at 1 p.m. PST. Mwah! Thank y'all for watching.